Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Classes suspended at St. James High after dispute between principal and board chairman. Accused killer of social media influencer fatally shot by police. And later in sports, under 20 reggae girls miss out on final round of World Cup qualifying. Now the details. The Education Ministry has intervened in the ongoing dispute between the principal of St. James High School, Joseph Williams, and the school's chairman, Christopher McCurdy. The conflict has led to the closure of the institution. TVJ News understands that things boiled over at a meeting at the school yesterday, which almost turned physical. In response, a team from the Ministry of Education is currently meeting with the school's administration and other stakeholders. Meanwhile, President of the Jamaica Association of Principals of Secondary Schools, Linvern Wright, has come out in defense of Mr. Williams.
And essentially, it's that he had a meeting and the chairman was there without his having invited him and wanted to pretty much conduct the meeting. So it was put off. That's how I understood it. And that having happened, I don't know that is something that should be. The chairman should have had a meeting with the principal before, because the principal is in charge of operations, he's in charge of the overall management of the school, so he would deal with anything he has in a board meeting. If anything happens, the principal is supposed to report to him. So I think, a breach of protocol took place yesterday.
He further cautioned that political board appointees can be problematic in a school setting.
A huge part of the problem, and I am picking up, and we have said it already, the real problem is that what we have are politicians appointing people to boards, rather than having people who are competent, who have no side to take, and who are going to be doing this thing in the interest of education. Because most chairmen, in fact, 99% of chairmen would not do what that chairman did. And what we really want to have are chairmen who understand that they're about education and not about conflict. That's not a good approach to anything coming from someone who really is in fact the head of an institution, being a chairman.
Rashawn Patterson, who's charged with the murdering social media influencer Nika Towson, was fatally shot by police in Hanover this morning. The incident happened during an alleged confrontation with the police about 4:40 in Dunn. Patterson was out on bail awaiting his next court appearance on October 15. He was arrested on November 2, 2022 after a high-level police operation linked him to Towson's murder. The Association Medical Consultants is set to meet with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security today. The meeting is aimed at settling the dispute between the consultants and the Ministry of Finance. The medical consultants are continuing their sick out for a second day because they argue the Ministry of Finance failed to respond to their concerns on Monday. They are demanding a definitive timeline for retroactive payments under the new public sector wage review. The protest action has caused major interruptions in public health care, with the Ministry of Health announcing a scale back of services and the suspension of elective surgeries. Other groups, including teachers, nurses, and non-academic staff at the University of Technology, are disgruntled. We put the issue to Labour Minister Pernell Charles Jr.
Firstly, the Labour Ministry acknowledges the concerns of our workers, and we remain committed to constructive dialogue and collaboration to ensure that we get the best result. We are always open and available. We create a safe space for discussions, and we make ourselves available before the issues become public, whether they become public for the employers, for the workers, for other ministries. And we've been successful so far in ensuring that our conciliatory talks are effective, they are open, and they create a space of trust that allows for us to have a real dialogue towards better results.
Mr. Charles Jr. says his ministry remains available and open to assist should the groups or other involved ministries require their support.
I can tell you for certain that the Ministry of Finance and all of the ministries are committed to ensuring that the compensation review process is as smooth as possible. There are some practical realities in terms of the economic circumstances that have to be considered. But from the Ministry of Labour perspective, we ensure that the Ministry of Finance, the workers, the employers all come to the table and have constructive dialogue to make sure that there is a balance between those economic realities and the interests of the workers.
The Ministry of Finance has yet to issue a public statement on the matters raised by the public sector groups. Cautious optimism, that's the mood among the public passenger vehicle operators in Clarendon. This after a recent meeting with the Transport Authority's managing director following a protest about unfair treatment.
Public passenger vehicle operators, representatives from the Transport Authority, the police, the Clarendon Municipal Corporation in full discussion mode. The meeting was called following a protest by taxi operators in Maypen earlier in February. Managing Director of the Transport Authority, Ralston Smith.
We want to move away from this type of adversarial behavior.
The PPV operators who ply routes to Vere, Palmer's Cross, Mineral Heights and Old Harbour in St. Catherine argue that they're being unfairly targeted for picking up and dropping off passengers in the town centre.
Whenever you clear the road, not blocking the road and picking up a passenger, not spending 2 minutes nor 1 minute. Somebody's jumping and carrying moving up. By the time you move off, you see a bike in front of you. Boom, boom.
I am going to be working out with my traffic committee and we might have to call you back to another meeting. As early as possible. Of some areas along the main street that must be designated pick-up areas.
Mr. Smith revealed that amendment will be made to the Transport Authority Act and regulation to allow bus and route taxis to be able to stop at designated areas.
And the recommendation is to amalgamate, both merge it and just call it a PPV stop. So that is covered and that will solve the issue going forward.
He wasn't able to say how soon the amendments will be brought to the Parliament. The taxi operators say they're approaching the situation with cautious optimism. Another concern is what they describe as the unreasonable ticketing when they avoid the busy, congested town centre.
Remember the town area is little, you know. So when we make a detour and like we have pick up passenger, we have go around for try come in the town same way. And they must see his because they're contrary.
A turn off here or there shouldn't constitute that kind of enforcement. And so we have to look at what they are doing and why they are doing what they are doing and find solutions in helping them to provide better services.
That was a win for us, for the operators who are coming from Vere and Old Harbour, who use Sunnyside and Lambridge Avenue and pick up traffic at the bridge. He says none of that.
Issues related to uniforms, the Transport Authority inspectors are being urged to warn the operators before ticketing them. As for badges that have not been issued because of training or the absence of a police record.
A lot of operators, they know that they can't get a badge because they have police record, criminal record, and they started the application process. What we have done now is to ensure that you first obtain your police record to make the application for the badge.
The Transport Authority says a handbook will be made available to the PPV operators by the end of February. Jamila Maitland, TVJ News.
A new study by the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI, has revealed that women play a critical role behind the scenes in organized crime. Details in this report.
The research, dubbed Hits and Misses, Women in Organized Violence, looked at assessing the role of women in organized crime in Jamaica. Dr. Diana Thorburn is Director of Research at CAPRI.
In the field of women's criminality, there's something called the invisibility phenomenon, where women, particularly in violent crime, are harder to pick up in terms of the numbers. And that happens for a number of reasons. One is the dominant perception of women as narratives. So people are not looking for them. But also, and this is where we get back to what you started with, the crimes that they're playing, the roles that they're playing, the crimes that they are doing are more facilitatory. They're strategic, They're important. They're not secondary roles, but they're less easy to see.
She revealed the factors that shape women's inclusion in organized crime.
There's, the factor that drives both women and men, financial gain. It's a livelihood. It's a way of enriching oneself. It's a way of getting power. It's a way of getting influence. The second factor is that many of these the options for financial gain for the women in gangs are limited because they are coming up in communities and families that are gang dominated. And then the third factor is the role of the community. Many gangs in Jamaica, almost all gangs, are operating in ungoverned spaces.
It is why one of the recommendations is for the deployment of more female personnel in anti-gang operations.
They have the key to the safe where the guns are. They are carrying the guns. They're buying the guns. They're driving the assassin to the location. They're pointing out the target. They're handing the gun to the person. They're not shooting it. These are all very important roles.
And they're hiding the criminals.
They're hiding criminals, but the important thing is that they are less suspected than men of carrying these things and doing these things. And in an all-male ops team, the men are constrained to search women. Gotcha. That's why we need to have more women. But there are very few women deployed in ops teams.
Carrie-Ann Simpson, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. Councillors at the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation are defending Mayor Andrew Swaby over allegations of misappropriation of funds. The JLP has made serious allegations against the mayor, accusing him of unfairly giving funds to support the PNP Corporation in the corporation. However, the councillors have fired back, dismissing the claims.
It's just the JLP person speaking for themselves, but we are very proud about the representation that Councillor Andrew Swaby, Mayor Andrew Swaby has been given in so far. You can feel the difference inside Kingston already, and all is just a distraction to pull away from the work that he has done already and the work that we want to get done.
The allegations are hoax, because, remember, the mayor have explained to Jamaica at large and to the public how the KCC functions and how it operates, and none of the allegations really fit how the KCC operates. And there are those who knows that the KCMC operate within a certain parameters, and those allegations doesn't fall or fit there, and therefore we really don't need to waste time with them.
Mayor Swaby is a working mayor. When one looks at Christmas and seeing the order that he was able to bring to the city during Christmas last year, it has been a long time the city has not seen that. When you talk about a mayor, when have you ever heard of a mayor bringing the budget of the city to the people? Mayor Swaby did so in October, bringing the budget, hearing from residents in a town hall meeting.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
The Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association and Sagicor Group Jamaica will today sign a memorandum of understanding to support members of the JMEA. The agreement will include group health and life insurance coverage for JMEA members and support for the association's small business members. Additionally, the entities will collaborate on financial fitness seminars and sponsorship of JMEA events, including the upcoming Expo 2025. Further afield, Singapore's biggest bank, DBS, says it expects to cut 4,000 roles over the next 3 years as artificial intelligence AI takes on more work currently done by humans. According to a DBS spokesperson, the reduction in workforce will come from natural attrition as temporary and contract roles roll off over the next few years. Permanent staff are not expected to be affected by the cuts. The bank's ongoing chief executive also said it expects to create around 1,000 new AI-related jobs. It makes DBS one of the first major banks to offer details on how AI will affect its operations. For the Business Minute, I'm Carrie-Ann Simpson.
Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, Anguilla is holding elections for a new government, with some voters casting ballots on Tuesday before the general election on Wednesday. There are 34 candidates vying to fill 11 seats in the House of Assembly. The ruling Anguilla Progressive Movement, APM, led by Premier Dr. Ellis L. Webster, is facing challenges from the Anguilla United Front, AUF, and independent candidates. On the international scene, there appears to be confusion surrounding an email sent to federal employees about their activities last week. Elon Musk insists they respond or face termination, despite conflicting guidance from the Office of Personnel Management, which called the response voluntary but encouraged. Lawmakers are calling for clarification and concerns are rising about job cuts. President Donald Trump praised the email, suggesting non-response could lead to being fired. And those are the top regional and international stories. I'm Shane Masters.
Shane, we take another break. Sports is next.